Good morning, Math 10 students, and welcome to 7.5 Part 3. We're continuing on with the process of elimination for solving systems of equations. All right, so today what we're going to do is check your understanding number 3 on page 434. I recommend you go through example 3 first on your own, and then even try check your understanding 3 yourself as well. And then if you need help, you can watch this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read it for us. So it says, write a linear system to model this situation. An artist, or artiste if you will, was commissioned to make a 625-gram statue of a raven is a type of bird, with a 40% silver alloy. All right, so the finished product should be 40% silver alloy. She has a 50% silver alloy, and she has a 25% silver alloy. So it says write a linear system to model this. All right, so sometimes if I'm not sure what my variables will be, like what is it I'm even trying to find out here, I'll read ahead and see what they're asking me. So in B, it actually says, what is the mass of each alloy needed to produce the desired alloy? Okay, so that gives me a clue. So when I'm going to go back and write my my linear system to model this, I would say that I am going to let, I don't know, you can pick whatever letters you want. I picked F and T because that's what they did and I thought it'd be easier, so I just did that. But you could pick whatever. So let F equal mass, because my question asked me to find mass of the 50% silver alloy, and then T equal the mass of my 25% silver alloy, okay? Because those are the two things I'm trying to figure out. How much of the 50% silver am I going to need to mix with the 25%? How much, what mass, okay? In order to build this final product of a raven that they told me is actually 40% silver alloy when you're finished it all, okay? So you know you're going to need a bit of this and a bit of this, you just don't know how much yet. All right, so if I'm trying to come up with my equation, they did tell me that my final product will be 625 grams, okay? So that's a clue for us. So if we know that we're going to need a certain amount of our F, which is our mass of the 50%, plus our T, mass of our 25%, and we know that we add up those two masses, the total mass of our raven is 625 grams, okay? So that's there for us right away. We took the total mass plus total mass, we'll get 625. Okay, great. So that's our first linear equation. Now the second one, they told us that our mass, this mass, has a 50% silver alloy, okay? So if I put in my 50% times F, this one they told us is 25%. And then they told us that the final one has to be 40%. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that 40 and multiply it by the 625, okay? Just like I multiplied these by the mass, I'm multiplying my 40% by the mass of the total, okay? So now we've got our two equations set up and we're going to solve them. And this said, I'm assuming they want us to do by elimination. It didn't really say, let me see, they did use elimination. So personally, I love substitution. So my first thought is to isolate one of these variables and do that. But let's go ahead and do this by elimination. So if I want to get one of these variables to equal one of these, I think the easiest way would be to either pick this one or this one and multiply in order to get the same. So right now, 0.5, what would I need to multiply 0.5 by to get a 1? If you're not sure, you could do it in the reverse order. You'd say, what's 1 divided by 0.5, which is 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply this whole thing by 2. The other option I would have had would be to take this, and I could have multiplied this by 4 to get 1. Okay, so either way, I'd be getting rid of 1. So let's do that. I'll just write it right here. 0.5 times 2 is 1, so F. And then I've got 0.25 times 2, which is 0.25. So I'm doing these in my head, but again, you're always welcome to use a calculator. And then this one, I do have my calculator handy. And got 625 times 0.4, which is 250. Okay, so I simplified this first. Okay, 250 times 2, 500. I guess technically when I did this equation up here, I should have rewritten it. 0.50f plus 0.25t equals 250. I should have probably simplified that, but I didn't. Yep, the book did too, so that's great. Okay, so times 2 here. So what I've done, just to refresh us, I made my 2 linear equations, and then what I did is I multiplied this whole one by 2 in order to get the f variable the same. Okay, so now, just because my board is not as big as my board at school, I do have to erase sometimes. All right, so let's just erase this, and I'm going to rewrite these equations up top here. So I'm going to say f plus t equals 625. Okay, and then now that I've made an equivalent one here, I'm going to write this one. F plus 0.50t equals 500. Okay, let's erase down below, and then we're going to be able to go ahead and use our process of elimination to solve for one of our variables. Okay, so let's subtract. Okay, f minus f is 0. Okay, 1 minus 0.5 is 0.5, and 625 minus 500 is 125. So my t is going to be 125 divided by 0.5, which is 250. Okay, excellent. So, just so we remember, we had said at the beginning that T was our mass of the 25% alloy. So now we know, just write that over there. Okay, that is the mass of that. Now, in order to solve for F, this would be the easiest equation, this first one. F plus T equals 625. Okay. One thing I'll mention, a lot of times I go ahead and first put in the variable. If you wanted to also solve for the variable first, I'll show you what this means, what I mean by this. You could do that. So you could do this. We're trying to solve now for f. I could do this. F equals 625 minus t. And now I could put in my t if I wanted to. What I normally do, I don't know why, I normally would say f plus 250 equals 625 and solve like that. But you could manipulate the equation first before you put in your variable. Either way, you get the same answer. So f equals 625 minus, we said t was 250. Okay, so your answer is 375. All right, so that was for f, 375 grams. Okay, so there you have it. And again, the books, let's see if we got that right. Yes, we did. 375 and 250. Yeah, but if you weren't sure, what I would recommend again, go back to your original 2 equations, put these values in, and see if your left side does equal the right side for both equations. Okay, very good. So I'm going to erase that. Again, go over the example as well. These things just take a little bit of practice. That one was a little bit different for us in the sense that we had to take our second linear equation, we multiplied by the percentage and the grammage. I don't know that you guys have seen that yet, so that was a little bit different. All right, so for your questions today, you're going to go on page 437. And I'm going to assign number 9, 10, and 15 or more. Okay, as always, make sure you're practicing lots. This just takes a lot of practice. So take a look at those questions, and those ones are going to be asking you to model the situation and then solve. And that's kind of like we just did in example 3, okay? So get really comfortable with making up your linear equations, your system, and then solving. All right, as always, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. We'll have one more part to section 7.5, your next day of classes. All right, have a great day.